This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, everyone. Thieves brandishing hammers and threatening violence have terrorised staff at a Moona shop overnight. A 67-year-old man was hurt in the confrontation and the offenders made off with a cash register. But the shopkeepers say their life and safety is more important than money.
Security footage captures what was a normal Saturday night at the food store in Moona, but that's about to change. 7:36 and two men with their faces covered come in, one with a hammer, threatening to strike.
When they first came in, I said to them, that's fine, do whatever you guys have to, just don't hurt us. But at the time, he did push my dad and followed up to hit him with the hammer.
Ali blocked this, and as he started to fight back, the thieves ripped the cash register out, running in a panic. Witnesses say a getaway car was around the corner. Police say this was a planned hit.
But it's certainly a busy street, busy area, so it was quite a brazen act.
Today, loyal customers were offering their support and best wishes for Ali's 67-year-old father.
My dad's at home, he's shaken up, he fell back, he hit his head down. He was knocked out for a couple of seconds, he came right, he's in a state of shock.
If you can help catch these offenders, police say you can provide information to Crime Stoppers anonymously.
The description of the males is approximately 184 centimetres tall, slim build, both wearing hoodies. And the vehicle involved was a white Ford Falcon.
Now staff are just trying to get on with business. They'll replace the cash register and clean up. But this attack has left mental scars.
People do not deserve to have this done to them. You know, it's affected me mentally. As I said, I haven't slept last night. My mind's running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I just wish this doesn't happen to anyone.
Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Controversial voluntary euthanasia advocate Philip Nitschke is bringing his touring workshop to Tasmania tomorrow. The event is made up of public and private sessions talking about the political and legal status of the issue. It will also discuss the contentious methods of euthanasia.
He's the man dubbed Dr. Death. Philip Nitschke is a euthanasia advocate and former medical practitioner. Now he's bringing his message to Tasmania.
We have our annual meeting where Dr. Nitschke comes from Amsterdam and he runs a lot of yearly workshops all around Australia, New Zealand.
A workshop will be held here at the Glenorchy Link tomorrow. It will include a public session and a private session reserved for those over 50 years old or seriously ill.
He holds very good workshops. The first half will be a meeting open to the public. Everyone's welcome. The second half will be the workshop where more information about, methods.
Similar events in other states and countries have struck trouble with authorities, but the state government says it's a matter of freedom of speech.
We feel for those people who feel that they need to go and talk to him about their options. It's obviously a sensitive matter for them, but as for any particular campaigner, while they don't break the law, they're of course perfectly welcome here.
We are not travelling assassins. We do not travel with medication to offer people to take their own life. I do not know when people are going to be doing that. They come, they get information.
Plans to legalise voluntary euthanasia failed in Tasmania's Parliament earlier this year, but with an election looming, so too does the issue again.
The leader of the Tasmanian Greens, Cassie O'Connor, has committed to bringing the voluntary assisted dying bill back as an own motion in the next term of government.
I hope that in a future parliament we can bring forward a legislation to provide a legal framework to protect people and doctors who want to support people who are at their end of life to die with dignity.
Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
And if you need help or support, Lifeline is available on 13 11 14. Summer may seem like it's still months away, but the Tasmanian government is already highlighting areas in need of fuel reduction ahead of the bushfire season. The Hodgman government also making an election commitment to decrease bushfire risks, but Labor says more funds should be spent on resourcing the state's fire service.
In early 2016, Tasmania's west coast was ravaged by fire. It came just 3 years after communities at Dunalley were forced to flee, confronted by similar scenes. Now, to ensure devastating bushfires don't happen again, the state government says it's committed to stepping up its fuel reduction program. The Liberals say if they're re-elected come election day, they will decrease bushfire risk 33% by 2022.
What we need to do is more burning in more targeted areas over the next 4 years to achieve it.
Reen Hidding identifying bushland near Summerhill as one of Launceston's next areas that needs its fuels cleared. The East Coast is another region of concern.
We'll be burning where the risk is increasing. For instance, on the Meehan Range in Hobart some time ago, that had fires and fuel reduction burns through it, but that's already 4 years ago, and the undergrowth is coming back.
But Labor says the state government also needs to ensure it's investing enough in the fire service.
There have been grave concerns about the incorporation of the SES into the fire service, and the fire service have been telling the Labor Party that it's eroded their ability to do their job and eroded their budget to do their jobs.
Meanwhile, it's an issue far from the bush that has the Greens frustrated. Rosalie Woodruff believes new right to information documents reveal the state government is at the beck and call of the salmon industry. She says a letter dated last August proves TasSal's plan to expand into Oakhampton Bay was guaranteed from inception.
It appears from our reading to have set up an approval process that kept the community out and gave TasSal what it wanted.
A claim the government has rejected.
The fact is that place had a licence. We submitted it to a whole new regime of investigations, which it survived.
Monica Dadson at Southern Cross News.
A Tasmanian comedian has taken out one of the top awards at the UK's prestigious Edinburgh Festival Fringe overnight. Hannah Gadsby and English comedian John Robbins were announced joint winners of the Best Comedy Show. It's the first time the award has ever been shared. 2017 has been a successful year for the 39-year-old Gadsby. Her work Nanette saw her win Best Comedy Performer at the Helpman Awards in July and the Barry Award for Best Show at the Melbourne Comedy Festival in April. 22 years after a promising young Tasmanian horse rider died in a car crash in the United States, his passion is inspiring a new generation. Equestrian riders from across the state today gathering at Invermay for the annual Paul Coulson Memorial Open Gymkhana.
Many of these riders are too young to have met Paul Coulson, but 22 years after he lost his life, they still ride in his honour.
He was a passionate horseman, and so we hold the day to remember him.
Dozens of riders competing in everything from the pleasure pony class to show jumping, vying for the annual Paul Coulson Trophy.
I'm riding Daisy. She's a young horse, so I'm out here giving her some experience.
I'm just coming here to have a fun day, learning stuff and riding the best I can.
Paul was only 16 when he died. The former Launceston Pony Club member was representing Australia at the International Mounted Games in Kentucky in 1995. But while en route to an event, the van he was travelling in crashed. 3 people, including Paul, lost their lives.
You feel very privileged to be riding in someone's name, like someone, Paul Coulson was a very well-respected rider among Tasmania, and to have a gymkhana hosted for him you feel very special.
I knew he was a great rider.
The Paul Coulson Memorial event is also a chance to inspire a new generation of horse riders.
It's important to instill in the young riders, I think, that you are able to achieve whatever you want. It's just a good way to remember through something that he really enjoyed.
15-year-old Longford rider Ingrid Bradley was awarded the Memorial Trophy. Monica Dadson at Southern Cross News.
A floating cafe at Huonville has started taking on water. Just after midday, the Boathouse Cafe was seriously listing to one side with water flooding a rear deck. The operators say they'd previously noticed a slow leak, but it had since worsened. They used a pump to help remove water.
It was mixed emotions at Bendigo Stadium overnight, with the Launceston Tornadoes year coming to an end with an 11-point loss to the Braves in the Seabull South Conference final. The Tawns couldn't recreate the magic of previous weeks, outclassed by the home side.
Playing for their first conference title in more than 2 decades, the reality just couldn't match the hype.
And 80 points is enough to win any game. It comes down to players from their team hitting shots that they don't normally hit.
Both sides coming out strong, with the Tawns matching it bucket for bucket in the first period. But the Braves' athleticism began to shine through in the second, extending the lead to 9 points by half-time as some of the Tawns' big guns went missing in action.
It's been a tough year for us. We've had, things going on behind the scenes, so I'm really proud of the girls, and probably a lot of people didn't expect us to get this far.
17 points down heading into the last term, things were looking ugly for the Tawns. But as they've done all final series, they found a way to claw back in it, narrowing the gap to 6 points with a few minutes left on the clock.
They're a quality group. They were always going to come back and make a run of it. When you got an opener like Mansfield, Nicholson's a great junior and a great WNBL player.
But the visitors couldn't nail the clutch shots as the clock wound down, allowing the Braves a last-minute run-on to claim the South Conference title by 11 points. The Tawns board will meet in the coming weeks to discuss the future, with the club and the coach keeping their options open for next year.
I'd love to come back, but that's a decision that will happen in due course. There are other things might pop up for me along the way, but I've loved my time in Tasmania.
Captain Lauren Mansfield also undecided whether she'll return next year as she prepares to play her first season in Europe.
So I'm going to Poland to play for a team called Turan, I think they're called, and I'll be playing there for about 8 months, I think the season goes for. I think there's changes in the rules so that I won't be classified as an import, so that'll be awesome because I've played so many games for the Tawns. So, definitely on my agenda to, I love Tasmania, I love Launceston, so I'm not quite sure yet, but definitely will be a possibility.
The Olympia Warriors have once again knocked out rivals Hobart Zebras out of the League Cup in yesterday's quarter-final clash, with Nick Mearns drawing first blood for the Warriors. Jacob Sklenar made it 2-0 halfway through the second before the Zebras clawed one back. But a string of last-minute saves from Warriors keeper Jacob Cole sealed the 2-1 win, while the Glenorchy Knights pulled off an upset win over Launceston City at KG5. With scores locked at 2-2 in the dying minutes of the match, Callum Brown pulled off this last-minute winner for the Knights to advance them through to the Final Four.
Good evening. Winter has shown the last of her glory today, but it was a great day to stay inside and watch sports history unfold with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Hobart struggled for a 9 today, Launceston and Burnie 11, Devonport 12. And 12 was the state's top, seen at Lowhead and Swan Island, 11 for Wynyard, St Helens, Strawn and the Islands, 10 at Bushy Park, Campania and Friendly Beaches, and our lowest temp was -6 at Mount Wellington. Zian recorded the highest rainfall today of 45 mil. To the satellites, some mid and high-level cloud bands over Victoria and southern New South Wales, cloud over the east coast of Western Australia and South Australia, while the rest of the country is mostly cloud-free. Up close, patchy low-level cloud covering the state again, with convective cloud moving in from the south. Tomorrow, we've got a low-pressure system off the New South Wales coast, while a trough remains along Western Australia and central Queensland. On the waters, west to southwesterly winds to 20 knots, reaching 25 knots in the south, seas to 4 metres about the west and south, and there are currently no warnings. Tomorrow, cloud for Hobart, 12 degrees, possible showers in Dover and Ouse with 11, frosty in the north, Devonport and Scottsdale looking at 12, Launceston a 13. Cloud for Burnie and Stanley, 12, showers for Strawn with 11. Some cloud along the east coast as well, with 14 in St Helens, 13 in Swansea and 11 for Ross. And the 3-day forecast has some sunshine planned. Tuesday, possible showers for the west and far south, fine elsewhere. Wednesday, possible morning showers around the east coast, but mostly sunny. And Thursday, widespread morning frost, but a great looking day all round. Around the country tomorrow, sunny for Perth, 24, Darwin and the centre, sunny. Melbourne, showers with 12, Sydney, partly cloudy and 16. And currently a very cold 5 degrees in Hobart, partly cloudy, Launceston 7 and clear, Devonport 6 and clear, and with the week ahead reach warmer temperatures, it's looking much more like May weather. That's my only punchline. Has Murph been training you? Thank you for that, Candice. Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. I'm Rachel Williams. Good night.